Hello, this is going to be a quick video on asparagus. I'm growing asparagus for the first time and I've watched a lot of videos. So asparagus takes 3 years from the first time you get a plant. That's year 1. Then you got to wait year 2, let it grow fully. And then at the end of year 3 you can harvest. And try not to harvest too much the 3rd year. But that's when you can harvest and eat them. Now to save time, you can buy root crowns, which are these. Look like little octopuses. And you can buy 2-year-old root crowns, and they're not that expensive. They're pretty cheap. So these will sprout and grow. These will grow this year into a full plants and produce some asparagus, but we'll leave it alone because that'll be year 2. And then next year, the 3rd year, we can harvest a little bit and actually eat it. The 4th year, you definitely can harvest whatever we want. The reason why you don't harvest the first 3 years or till the end of the 3rd year, and when you do the end of the 3rd year, you only eat a little bit, is because you need the energy from those asparagus stalks to go back into the crown so it'll come back to the next year and starts producing you more. And once you get past that 3rd year, you can harvest asparagus and it'll continue to increase. For about 25 years, you could be eating fresh asparagus, which is like night and day from asparagus that you get in the store. I mean, it's totally way better when you grow your own. So what we do here is we grow it, we dig a trench about 8 inches deep, and then about a foot center to center. You can go a little bit more if you want. They recommend probably a little bit more. You make some humps of soil. You see that little hump there, little hill? So you make some little hills in the trench and you spread out the little octopus legs of the asparagus over it. And what I've done is I've thrown in some slow release 4-month Osmocote fertilizer. And the little white stuff you see is mycos, which is a root fungi or root inoculant or root bacterium that I use with all my growing. Helps in get healthy roots and strong roots and helps plants to get established, be more drought tolerant, be more disease resistant. And the roots are the foundation of the plant. So if you have healthy roots, you translates into a healthier plant, which is healthier fruit or healthier vegetable harvest. So after this, I will wet it down with a little bit of water. I'm going to pause the video while I do that. Okay, so I wet the little trench down with the little mounds that the asparagus root crowns, they call them crowns, are on top of. And now I'm going to spread the soil over them, probably about 3 or 4 inches over the whole plant, but I'm going to fill in the trench with the soil that I dug out to make the trench. So we're going to gently add soil back into the trench and over the plant like that. Making sure we get a couple inches of soil over the top of the crown. See? So we fill in the trench and we go a couple inches over the top of the crown. And then we're going to soak the soil again. I'm going to give it a really good soaking because that soil that we dug out of the trench kind of dried in the sun a little bit. So we're going to give it a really good soaking. And we're probably going to water every day. We're not going to get the soil muddy, so to speak. But we're going to probably water once a day. And when we start getting green asparagus poking through, we'll add some fertilizer with a little more nitrogen and feed it. And then we'll have asparagus plants, which we will not harvest from. We'll just let them grow and let the stalks die out. And then the next winter, after the next year, at the end of next year, we'll be able to harvest a little bit here and there. So we'll get our first asparagus to eat. And we've got 10 root crowns total. So when these 10 mature and start sending out new shoots over the years, we'll have lots and lots of asparagus. And you can always plant a couple of plantings if you have, if you want to do that. If you really, really love asparagus, you could plant some crowns now, and then the end of next year get a harvest, and then next year you could plant some other 2-year crowns. So you could plant in generational planting. So plant, and then the next year plant more, and then the next year plant more, and the next year plant more. I mean, it depends on how big your family is. It depends on how much asparagus you really like to eat. But you can do some successive plantings. This is my raised bed here that is new. And along here we have yard-long beans, red noodle yard-long beans. They're an Asian bean. We have some string beans that are native to the Cherokee Indians here in Georgia. And we have some Asian jade, tasty jade cucumbers, which are a hybrid, so we can't save seeds off them, but we have plenty of seeds. And then here we have some yellow squash. And in between all these plants, we're going to just throw down some green onion seed, because that'll grow like a weed. And onions and garlic keep away a lot of pests. So right over here, I'm going to leave this area where I'm standing to kind of be like a walk-in area. Maybe I'll plant some green onions and step around them. But over here, next to those 5 asparagus root crowns I planted, I'm going to go about 1.5 feet over, but still going to be about 1.5 feet away from the yellow squash. And I'm going to plant another 5 asparagus crowns. So we'll do a video later on when we see them sprouting up and talk to you about it. Now, there's lots of other gardening channels that are better than me, but I figured if you're on my channel and you're looking at Chiles or my cooking vids or whatever, you might want to look at the asparagus video and learn, because trust me, I've watched a whole bunch of videos of other people and took the best of what I got from all of them and decided to grow it myself. We'll see how we do over the next year or so. So here's an update on the asparagus, okay? I planted these on June 2nd, the bare root crowns, which had no green growth on them at all. And as you see earlier in this video, and it's now 5 days later, and can you see the asparagus is already coming up? Here's another one. So I've never grown asparagus before, and there's a whole bunch more coming up here. It's hard to see unless I zoom in on them. I've never grown it before, but you know what? Plant the crowns as directed and just water it every day. Just keep it well watered until you start getting growth coming up, and then water as needed, and then later fertilize. And man, that's pretty fast from a bare root plant that came in the mail to 5 days later. There's another one over here. See it? So it's not bad. So it's Jim Duffy, Refining Fire Chiles, www.superhotchiles.com. And looks like we'll be eating a little bit of asparagus next year, and then the year after we'll have a whole bunch. So you all take care. Bye-bye.